Welcome to World Action and Reaction News. Let's start today's news snapshot. Before starting this news session, my request to you all, please press subscribe button and press bell icon for regular updates on new video upload, if you are new to this channel, and also press like button if you find this video useful to you. Let's start. The Indian Air Force has been operating at its lowest combat strength in more than a decade. It is down to 33 squadrons as against a mandated 42 squadrons needed for a simultaneous and collusive two-front war scenario with Pakistan and China. The Indian Air Force, IAF, has said that the current shortage of fighter jets would not impede its preparedness for a two-front war with Pakistan and China. The IAF is currently facing a shortage of at least 9 squadrons of fighter jets. We need the strength of 42 squadrons to carry out full-spectrum operations, but it doesn't mean we can't fight a two-front scenario. There is a Plan B, Air Chief Marshal B.S. Dhano said at a press conference ahead of Air Force Day on October 8. While the current number of combat aircraft with India matches more or less with that of Pakistan, China is in possession of a much higher number. It is not what China has got, it is what they can project against us. It is what they can bring into Tibet. Our capability is adequate, the Indian Air Chief Marshal explained. President Donald Trump will dispatch his top diplomatic and military advisors to Pakistan in the coming weeks, turning up the heat on a nuclear-armed ally accused of harboring terror groups. Weeks after Trump angrily accused Islamabad of providing safe haven to agents of chaos plus, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson plans to depart for Pakistan late this month. He will be followed by Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, according to US and Pakistani sources. The 1-2 punch is designed to drill home Trump's message that Pakistani state support for jihadist groups has to end, according to officials briefed on the visits. Leaders of India and EU agreed on stronger cooperation to act against global terrorists and terror entities including Hafiz Saeed, Zakir Rehman Lakhvi, Dawood Ibrahim, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, Haqqani Network, Al-Qaeda, ISIS and affiliates, said Ruchi Ghanshyam, secretary in the MAA. PM Modi, while addressing a joint press event with the EU leaders, said, "We have agreed to strengthen our security cooperation and work together against terrorism. We will not only further strengthen our bilateral cooperation on this issue, but will also increase our cooperation and coordination in multilateral fora." Claiming UN support for its controversial One Belt One Road, OBOR, initiative, China today rejected US criticism saying the project has not changed its stand that the Kashmir issue should be resolved by India and Pakistan bilaterally. "We have repeatedly reiterated that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, is an economic cooperation initiative that is not directed against third parties and has nothing to do with territorial sovereignty disputes and does not affect China's principled stance on the Kashmir issue," the Chinese Foreign Ministry told PTI here. "India and Pakistan cannot be friends," said Minister of State, MOS, for External Affairs Gen. RETD, VK Singh in DRDO on Friday. Despite the fact that both nations share commonalities, some sections keep the tension boiling, said Singh. "You have seen Pakistan artistes coming here and our artistes going there. But we cannot be friends. It is a deliberate policy of keeping the pot boiling by some sections," he said at the military history seminar at Welham Boys School. "Primarily, it suits Pakistan military to keep the pot boiling. Because on that depends their existence, on that depends their prestige and on that depends their control," he added. Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman paid a visit to Jamnagar Air Force Station today and took first-hand information about the role and nature of operations undertaken by the Indian Air Force at the air base. A static display of various aircrafts that had operated from the base as well as weapon systems were shown to the Defense Minister during her visit to the Air Traffic Control Centre there, said a release by the Defence Pro for Gujarat. The defense minister also sat in the cockpit of a static MiG-29 fighter aircraft during her visit, said the release. It seems a decision has been taken by the Indian Navy, IN, to install an air-independent propulsion, AIP, system developed by the Naval Materials Research Laboratory, NMRL, Ambernath, which is a part of the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, on all 6 of its Scorpene-class diesel-electric submarines once they become due for their first major refit. This decision is of course contingent upon NMRL's AIP being fully proven by then as a safe plug. Given that the refit of even the first Scorpene-class submarine, the INS Calvary, is not due for at least another 6 years, NMRL is confident of having refined its already advanced prototype sufficiently by that point, to satisfy INS requirements. Raksha Mantri Nirmala Sitharaman on her visit to Submarine Tech exhibition held at DRDO Bhawan last month was seen being briefed by LNT officials on Larsen and Toubro developed Mini-Submarine Concept to be used by Indian Navy's Marine Commandos or Marcos, while DRDO Chief S. Christopher was also seen closely observing the interaction. Mini-Submarine has seen in the picture is a miniature submarine equipped with a swimmer delivery vehicles, SDV, to be used by Special Marine Commandos drivers for insertion of commandos behind the enemy line. It seems a decision has been taken by the Indian Navy, IN, to install an air-independent propulsion, AIP, system developed by the Naval Materials Research Laboratory, NMRL, Ambernath, which is a part of the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, on all 6 of its Scorpene-class diesel-electric submarines once they become due for their first major refit. This decision is of course contingent upon NMRL's AIP being fully proven by then as a safe plug. Given that the refit of even the first Scorpene-class submarine, the INS Calvary, is not due for at least another 6 years, NMRL is confident of having refined its already advanced prototype sufficiently by that point, to satisfy INS requirements.
Thanks for watching. I hope you like this news. Please share your views in comment box. Please like and share this video. Press subscribe button and bell for auto update to you regarding my channel World Action and Reaction News. Warn.